60 years ago, on April 12, 1961, the cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to fly around the Earth's orbit and see with his own eyes the entire greenhouse of mankind in the space race. This momentous event has ushered in a new era on mankind's path to space quest. According to the RBTH page, Yuri Gagarin was born on March 9, 1934 in an idyllic carpenter family in Smolensk. At the age of 16, he moved to Moscow and later entered a technical school in Saratov. Gagarin had dreamed of the sky since he was a young boy. As a highly trained military pilot, Gagarin was selected from thousands of applicants to undergo the rigorous training required for a spaceflight, in addition to showing excellent results in his tests. At the age of 27, Gagarin had a historic 108-minute flight in the space as his Vostok spacecraft completed a revolution around the Earth. "I see Earth. It is so beautiful," he spoke from space in the bursts of his colleagues on the ground. Gagarin is also remembered when he took off his shoes before entering the Vostok spacecraft, a tradition in Russia when entering the house. Gagarin is praised for his bravery and professionalism, an example of the perfect Soviet man. But he is also known for his stories of close friendship, courage, and love for his two daughters. With his wife Valentina Gagarina, Gagarin wrote his wife a farewell letter in case he died while on duty. "Well, if something happens, then I ask of you, and first of all you, Valya, not to be killed with grief. After all, life is life, and no one is guaranteed that tomorrow the machine will not crush it," Gagarin wrote in a letter to his darling wife and two daughters. At 9:07 o'clock Moscow time on April 12, 1961, the Orient spacecraft carrying cosmonaut Gagarin set off. 10 minutes later, the spacecraft entered orbit at 18,000 miles per hour, and Gagarin became the first person to see Earth from outer space. When Gagarin flight took off from the airport in Baikonur University in Kazakhstan, he uttered his iconic catchphrase, "Poekali," which means "let's go" in Russian. Gagarin's flight lasted only 108 minutes, as Vostok completed one orbit around the world and he returned home safely. However, the truth is that not everything in flight goes according to plan. Among dozens of technical problems, his spacecraft entered orbit at a higher altitude than expected. If the brakes fail, Gagarin will have to wait for the spacecraft to begin to land on its own. Although the Vostok was stocked with enough food, water, and oxygen for the last 10 days, the higher altitude meant that the waiting time would be much longer. Gagarin would run out of supplies. Luckily, the brakes worked. Everyone never forgets Gagarin's first words from space to Earth. "Orbiting Earth in the spaceship, I saw how beautiful our planet is. People, let us preserve and increase this beauty, not destroy it." This is also the message that the hero of the Soviet Union at the time conveyed to the people all over the planet. After a 108-minute orbit around the Earth, the Orient spacecraft landed safely in a field on the banks of the Volga River. The first human flight into space ended successfully. Later, in The Road to the Stars, Gagarin wrote down his feelings at the time. "It all happened like a dream. From the vastness of space, I returned safely to the place where I took off for the first time, on the ground." Indeed, it was not only like a dream for Yuri Gagarin alone, but perhaps for all humanity. Gagarin's successful flight brought joy to people all around the world. This success was not only the pride of the Soviet Union at the time, but also a breakthrough in mankind's process of conquering space, opening a new era in the history of world science. The era of people researching science right in the universe. The era of conquering the universe. Gagarin landed several kilometers away from his intended landing spot, in the field of a farm in southern Russia. Upon landing, the first people Gagarin met were her 2 grandchildren harvesting potatoes. When they saw me in my spacesuit and parachute dragging alongside as I walked, they started to back away in fear. I told them, "Don't be afraid. I am a Soviet like you, who has descended from space, and I must find a telephone to call Moscow." Gagarin's quote expresses pride in the Soviet country, and since then, he has become a hero, not only in the Soviet Union, but all around the world. A year after Yuri Gagarin flew into space on April 12, 1962, was declared by the Soviet Union as Space Day. By 1968, this day was known as World Aviation and Space Day. Unfortunately, only 7 years after the flight entered human history, on March 27, 1968, the hero Gagarin returned to the flight path with the task of training a test pilot on the next generation jet fighter, MiG-15. However, the MiG-15 crashed shortly after takeoff, killing him at the age of 34. With great contributions to the Soviet space industry and the world, Gagarin was awarded the title of Hero of the Soviet Union and many medals, honorary citizenship titles of cities in countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, America. He has also visited many countries around the world as a messenger of peace and friendship. In 2021, on the 60th anniversary of astronaut Yuri Gagarin, the first person to fly into space, on April 9, 2021, Russia's Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft performed a flight carrying 3 astronauts. A crew of Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov and NASA's astronaut Mark Vande Hai took off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan and flew to the International Space Station, ISS. The Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft is named after the legendary astronaut Gagarin, and his portrait has been mounted on the outside of the spacecraft. Thank you all for watching this video. If you like it, please like and subscribe to ASK KPOP Entertainment. Goodbye, and see you in the next videos.